In the far reaches of the North Sea, there's a town so remote that many people in the UK don't even know it exists. It lies closer to Norway than to Edinburgh, a place shaped by Vikings, battered by storms and sustained by the sea. This is Lerwick, the UK's most remote town. But what's it really like here, at the edge of Britain? I have made it here to Lerwick in Shetland. I arrived here into Lerwick by overnight ferry. I boarded the ferry in Aberdeen and it took 14 hours to get here. It's actually the longest ferry journey within the UK, and it's great to take the ferry if you want to bring your vehicle to Shetland. You can also get here to Lerwick by flight. You can fly from Scottish cities like Aberdeen, Glasgow and Edinburgh. From Glasgow and Edinburgh, the flight takes about 1 hour and 30 minutes. However, the airport here in Shetland is not in Lerwick. It's actually south of Lerwick and it takes about 30 minutes to drive here. I am so excited to be here in Lerwick, so let's go out and explore what this remote town has to offer. On the way into the museum here is an example of lace knitting. So this lady, she wanted to replace her ugly garden fence, so she knit these fishing lines to replace it. It's beautiful. My first stop here in Lerwick is going to be the Shetland Textile Museum. Knitting has been a big way of life here in Shetland for centuries, and I'm going to find out more about it inside. These days there's something called Wool Week, which is a big event held at the beginning of October every year, and at that time around 1,000 people come here to Shetland. The wild Shetland landscape is perfect for rearing sheep, and the islands are home to their own small, hardy and colourful native breed. The Textile Museum showcases the history, techniques and traditions of local textiles, especially Fair Isle and Shetland knitting. It's set inside a converted bod, a traditional waterfront warehouse, once used to store and trade goods like fish, grain and cloth. This here must be the lace knitting. Wow, look at the detail on this. It's so intricate. Must require a lot of skill to make this. And then over here, here's another example of lace knitting, I think, with some colour as well. This building's so old. Look at the views out the window. It looks like in here you can actually have a go and do some knitting. The museum costs £5 to go inside, and they have a really great gift shop as well, so if you want to buy some knitwear while in Lerwick, that's a great place to go. As I'm sitting here in the car park at the Textile Museum, I'm looking out at some absolutely huge fishing boats there, and a huge amount of fish is actually landed here in Shetland. More fish is landed here than England, Wales and Northern Ireland combined. The fishing industry here is huge. Everything from mackerel and herring to whitefish and shellfish comes through these harbours. Most of it is exported across Europe and beyond, but fishing has also shaped life here for centuries, with whole communities built around the sea. Today, Lerwick and Scalloway are bustling hubs with modern fleets and processing plants, keeping this tradition alive. My next stop here in Lerwick is the petrol station. Let's see how the prices here compare to on the mainland. Can you see the prices there? So unleaded is 136.9 and diesel is 143.9. I actually think that's quite comparable to the prices on the mainland as well. Let me know how they compare to where you live. Now making my way into the town centre here of Lerwick, and here's the bus station. It is called the Viking bus station. How funny is that? And then up behind I can see the Lerwick distillery. Let's go over there and see if it's open, because I didn't know there was a whisky distillery here in Lerwick. So here it is, the Lerwick distillery. Maybe they are selling whiskey in here. Maybe I'm at the back entrance here. Let's go round the other side. Lerwick Distillery is the first whisky distillery in Shetland. They haven't started production yet, but will use local rock spring water to create a whisky that reflects Shetland's unique climate and character. Their master distiller, Ian Miller, used to work at Glenfiddich, a big name in the world of whisky. It was very exciting to go inside the Lerwick distillery and see what they're doing in there. They are just about to start making whisky, so all the equipment in there, all the stills, everything is brand new and still even has the labels on it, which I've never seen before. But once they start making whisky, their distillery will be able to have the title of the northernmost single malt whisky distillery in Scotland and also in the world. And the whisky will be ready after 3 years, because to be officially called whisky in Scotland, the whisky has to mature in casks for 3 years. I asked what the taste of the whisky will be like, and they said they're going to make it like a Speyside style of whisky, and they're not going to be using peat. The distillery is owned by 2 locals, 2 Shetlanders, which is really nice, and they said they're very proud of that. So it's not owned by any big company. Looking forward to trying that whisky when it is finally available in a few years' time. Before we continue, I'd like to quickly say thanks to today's video sponsor, Incogni. I've been using Incogni for about a year now, and it's made a huge difference to how I feel about my personal data online. The scary thing is, it's not just about junk email or spam phone calls anymore. Data brokers can collect and sell our private information, such as our name, address, phone number, email, and even financial information. Once that data is out there, it can be used for things like identity theft. The risks seem to always be increasing, and you might have heard of scams like people using AI to pretend that they're people's family members and ask them for urgent help. The thing is, when they have your personal information as well, these scams can be very believable. That's why I use Incogni. They contact these data brokers who are collecting this information on my behalf and demand that my information is removed from their databases. It's not just a one-time fix either. With the annual subscription, they're constantly sending these requests and following up to make sure my name and data has actually been removed. Incogni also offer a friends and family plan, so you can protect up to 4 people on one subscription. Incogni are offering 60% off their annual plan, and you can get that by using the code RuthAshling at checkout. I'll put the link in the video description below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Now let's continue exploring Lerwick. I next took a look inside the Shetland Museum, a brilliant free museum that really covers just about anything you could want to know about Shetland. There are displays on the island's archaeology and early settlements, the Viking and Norse period, the fishing and whaling industries, and Shetland's role in the oil era. You'll also find exhibits on traditional crofting life, boat building, and of course, knitting. The museum really helps to put everything you see around Shetland into context. Here in Shetland, they actually have their own flag, and you'll see this when you're in Lerwick or travelling around in Shetland. And it looks a little bit like the Scotland flag. It has the same sort of colours, a blue background with a white cross, but it is different. The Shetland flag was designed in 1969 to mark 500 years since the islands became part of Scotland, combining the blue of the saltire with the white Nordic cross. Historically, Shetland was part of the Norwegian crown until the 1400s, when it was pledged to Scotland as part of a marriage treaty between King James III and Margaret of Denmark. Because of that history, there's still a strong Nordic influence here, and some people even feel a Norse connection as much as, or sometimes more than, a Scottish one. You can see it in the place names, the traditions, and of course in the flag itself, which blends both Scottish and Scandinavian heritage. Up here is the entrance to a place called Fort Charlotte, and this is one of the main things to do here in Lerwick. Let's go inside and see what it is. I am here inside the buildings at Fort Charlotte. Construction began here in 1665, but it wasn't completed, and that was during the Second Dutch War. Construction then started again about 100 years later during the American War of Independence, but they never actually used this fort, and it's said to look very much like it did when it was constructed. It looks like the cannon is shooting at the cruise ship, doesn't it? It's really nice here at Fort Charlotte. Probably a nice place to come for a picnic, actually. Just in front of me is a little harbour where you can catch ferries. So just down there, you can catch a ferry to a few different places. You can go over to the Isle of Bressay, which is directly opposite. Looks like a very short ferry journey. So it's quite a long island, and it actually shelters this entire bay. So this is why Lerwick is quite sheltered, because of this island Bressay, which is right opposite. Can you see there's a little seal just swimming in the bay there? From this ferry terminal you can also sometimes catch a ferry to the Outskerries, which is Shetland and Scotland's easternmost point. I actually went to the Outskerries last year and I filmed a video, so I'll link it below if you want to watch it. I am going to continue my walk into the centre of the town, and I want to take a closer look at that cruise ship that I could see from Fort Charlotte. So the ferry to Bressay is here, it's arrived. You can see the small yellow boats coming in from the cruise ship. So the cruise ship has to dock out there, and then people will get onto those small yellow boats and then come ashore here into Lerwick. I wonder how many people are on that cruise ship. It is absolutely humongous. I saw a similar one in Kirkwall a few years ago in Orkney, and it was about 3,000 or 4,000 people, so this one looks a similar size. I've heard a lot of people around the town speaking German, and I can see here on the side it says ida.de, so I think most of the people who are speaking German are probably coming off this cruise ship. So yeah, here it's coming in now. I recently watched a news report about cruise ships here in Shetland, but I think there's divisive opinions about cruise ships all over Scotland. When so many people come ashore at once, it can be quite overwhelming. I mean, if there's 3,000 or 4,000 people on that cruise ship and the population of Shetland is 23,000, it really adds to the population of the island. I've also heard in other parts of Scotland as well that it's questioned how much money people are actually spending ashore, because all the meals are usually served on the cruise ship and they only come ashore for a day. So I actually looked this one up here, and yesterday they were in Aberdeen, and then tomorrow they're in Bergen. So they're only here in Lerwick for one day, in Shetland for one day. But then obviously there are people who benefit from the cruise ships as well. So yeah, it's an interesting topic. There's a rainbow over the Isle of Bressay in the distance. Wow, that's beautiful. In the harbour here, there are these two boats, and I wonder if these are to do with fishing or to do with the oil industry. Oil was discovered off Shetland in the 1970s, and the huge Sullom Voe terminal up north became the main centre for the industry. Lerwick Harbour, though, has always played a supporting role. It's the main commercial port, so alongside the fishing boats, ferries and cruise ships, you'll sometimes see oil supply vessels coming and going. These days, it's also important for decommissioning work as old platforms are gradually dismantled and brought ashore. I will continue the walk along the harbour front here. So there's a big coach over there, so people have probably been out today on coach trips from the cruise ship. Let's go up and explore some of the back streets here in Lerwick. So the main street is called Commercial Street, and I think you can access it up this alleyway, or lots of different alleyways, to get through to Commercial Street. going down these laneways really reminds me of Edinburgh. Very similar feeling with these very narrow alleyways.
Lerwick means muddy or clay bay in Old Norse, and the town first grew as a fishing settlement in the 17th century. Today, its main hub is Commercial Street, a narrow street that is lined with lots of interesting shops and cafes.
If you take a turn off Commercial Street, you can find even smaller streets like this. Wow, this is so beautiful.
Even though Lerwick sits on a remote island archipelago, it still has supermarkets like Tesco and a co-op. And when I've shopped there, the prices haven't been much different to the mainland. There's also a bit of a friendly debate about how to pronounce the town's name. Some say Lerwick, others Lerwick. After asking quite a few locals before filming this video, the vote seemed pretty evenly split, so I've gone with Lerwick.
Just off this side street is the Lounge Bar, and this is one of the best places here in Lerwick to see live music. So they have live music every Wednesday, and then they also have music every Saturday, but I don't know if that's the traditional music. But I came here before and it was very good. Lerwick might be the most remote town in the UK, but I think it should win the award for the cutest and most beautiful town as well. Here at the end of Commercial Street, you can find these really iconic Lerwick buildings. The foundations of these buildings are actually built into the sea, and some of you might recognise these buildings because they were in the Shetland TV drama. I've actually only ever watched one episode of the TV drama, so I need to get round to doing that. The waves are crashing up against these buildings. There's actually a little beach here and little steps that go down. The water is so clear, it looks a nice place for swimming as well.
These unique buildings are known as lodgeburies, once common all along Lerwick's waterfront. They were merchants' houses and warehouses built with their foundations in the sea, so boats could come right up and unload goods directly inside. Only a few survive today, and this one, the Lodgebury, is the most famous. It became a TV landmark after being used as the home of Jimmy Perez, the detective in the BBC crime drama Shetland, which brought these islands to screens around the world.
I have been trying to search on my phone on Google Maps for somewhere to go for dinner. I really want to eat some Shetland fish, but there is no network coverage. I'm really struggling to get connected. I'm wondering if it could possibly be because of the cruise ship that is in and all the extra people that are here in Shetland and using the 4G. I don't know, could that be the case? I have found myself down another of these laneways here in Lerwick. I could spend hours wandering around these different laneways and alleyways. They're just so cute. I am getting a bit hungry now though, and I asked the local lady where is her favourite place here in Lerwick to have fish and chips, and she told me, and I am going to head there next. Opposite me here is the Fort Cafe and Takeaway, and this is where was recommended for the best fish and chips here in Lerwick. So let's go in and see if they have what I'm looking for. So I got the fish and chips. Let's try the Lerwick fish and chips. I love tartar sauce, especially when it's homemade. It's so good. It is very good. Very crispy fish. I believe the fish is haddock that they use in there. So hungry, so good. Okay, we have a problem. There is a seagull eyeing up the fish and chips. Now he's calling his friends and telling them, let's go in for the kill and get Ruth's fish and chips. Oh my gosh, look, he's coming closer. Go away, go away. It's quite a big seagull as well. I don't even know if that's a seagull.
My next stop here in Lerwick is an ancient site that is said to be around 2,000 years old. A broch is a stone-built roundhouse, and many can be found in Shetland, Orkney and northern parts of Scotland. There aren't as many examples of brochs in the south of Scotland, where I'm from. Actually, when I first came, I think it was to Shetland or Orkney a few years ago, that was the first time I'd ever heard of a broch. And since then I've visited quite a few, but they're not very common in the south of Scotland where I grew up. Here is an artist's impression of what it might have looked like around 300 BC. So there was turf on the roof of the broch. Clickaman Broch sits on the edge of a loch in the town, and it's one of the best preserved prehistoric sites in Shetland. Built around 2,000 years ago, it would have been both a home and a defensive stronghold. Today you can still see the thick walls, entrance passage and surrounding ditches that show how important and impressive it once was. Oh wow, you can actually go right inside. Let's go in and have a look. You really have to bend right down to go inside this. There's all these little rooms as well. They're like caves. They're really nice views from the broch. It's incredible that this exists in the town, this ancient site. To get here from the town centre, it's about a 20-25 minute walk, but I think it's definitely worth it. I think this is one of the best preserved brochs that I've ever visited. Isn't it so funny that there's this ancient roundhouse here, but then behind are all the modern houses where people live these days. Must be quite a nice view living over there and looking out at the ancient broch. Behind me over there you can see the Lerwick High School, and it's the biggest high school here in Shetland. Shetland has many islands, and most of the small islands have a primary school. I think maybe all of them do, but when the students go to high school, if they live on one of these other islands that's accessed by ferry or flight, I think generally what's happening is that the students are boarding here during the week. So one of my friends who's from an island in Shetland, not the mainland, he said he used to come and board between Monday and Friday here at the high school in Lerwick and stay in a hostel, he called it. And they have meals and they have people that are there to take care of the people staying in the hostel, and then at the weekend he would go back to his island again with all the other students from his island. So it's quite interesting, it's quite different to how I went to school, because I just stayed at home and then took the bus every day to school.
It's starting to get a little bit chilly. So in Shetland, the daylight hours are a little bit different to the rest of Scotland because it is much further north. So in the winter, it has a lot more darkness, so it gets darker earlier in the evening, and then in the summer they have a lot more daylight. Sometimes it doesn't get dark here until after 11 o'clock at night. I remember I was hiking last year at 11:30 p.m. and I could still see where I was walking and it wasn't properly dark yet. There is a bit of a temperature difference as well between mainland Scotland and Shetland. I always feel there's about 5 degrees Celsius difference, but yeah, you always need lots of warm clothes when you come to Shetland, even if it's in the summertime. There is a place that I want to visit, and it is the Uphellia exhibition. And Uphellia, if you don't know what that is, it is a big festival they have here in Shetland every January in the depths of winter. And it is a fire festival, and I've never been to it before. I don't know that much about it, so I'm looking forward to going to the exhibition to find out more. Okay, so I have made it to the Uphellia galley shed, and this is where they have the exhibition about Uphellia Festival.
Uphellia is a community event held on the last Tuesday of January. It's a Viking themed festival. We celebrate our Norse heritage. It's been going on for now roughly about 150 years. As you see here, this is the galley we build every year by the same design, and the only thing that changes is the colour of the galley. The Jarl gets to choose the colour. It's all kept secret till Ophelia Day itself, and it's sadly burnt by the end of Tuesday night. So, Jarl is he's the main man of the event. He's the leader of the whole festival of that year. So he gets to wear the breastplate, the shield, the axe, and the helmet, which gets passed on for the new Jarl. And I will be the Jarl 2039.
That's so exciting. Have you started thinking about what you'll wear or the squad?
I haven't decided yet, but I'm kind of got some ideas in my head. Some designs might come from my dad's suit. He was Jarl in the year 2000. So I might have some ideas for him, but it's all kept secret. So.
During the festival, a costumed Jarl squad of Vikings lead a torchlit parade through the town, ending with the dramatic burning of the full-size replica longship. Afterwards, the celebrations continue late into the night with dancing, music and community parties across multiple halls in Lerwick.
What we have on display here is previous suits for previous Opphelias. We have shields, we've got the bill paintings here, and we've got photos for Opphelias for previous years. And we've got a DVD we like to show everybody, just so everybody knows what goes on the day itself.
My goodness, that is one of the most interesting experiences that I've had in such a long time. I'd heard of Ophelia, but I didn't realise the work and the organisation and the detail and the long history of that festival. Scott spent over an hour explaining to me and the other people there all about the festival, and he's so passionate. And if you ever get the chance to go to that exhibition or even go to Ophelia itself, highly recommend. I think I'm going to be adding that to my life bucket list. As you can see, it has got dark. I am going to now head to my accommodation for the night. I have booked a hotel here tonight in Lerwick.
It's called the Norlandi guest house. The reception is not manned at night. Okay, so let me give you a tour of my hotel room here in Lerwick. There is a big double bed here. To the side of the bed is this couch. There's also a huge TV here. What's inside? Oh my goodness. A kettle. Is that a coffee machine? Oh, hot chocolate. Oh, there's a microwave in the corner there. Then down here there's a fridge. I don't know if this is included or not. There's cold water. There's also yogurt, apple juice and fresh milk. Here is the bathroom. So there's a big shower, and then we have toilet. Wow, this is huge. Double sink. This is lovely. Really not what I expected. Much nicer than I expected. This guest house is so cosy and so nice. I actually think the owner lives in here too. As I was coming inside the front door, somebody was watching TV in the living room, and it was a self-check-in, so I didn't meet the owner. But yeah, so happy with this place. It's so spacious and really, really cozy. It cost me £99 to book this for one night. It was actually the cheapest accommodation available on booking.com for tonight, and it had really high reviews as well. I hope you've enjoyed exploring Lerwick with me today. It's such a beautiful town. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.